Tony, let's talk about jig trailers.
Okay.
And show us what you got in some jig trailers and how you fish those jig trailers up here on Lake Pecagama.
Well, I think, here, I'll grab this. Probably my number one bait, if I can get away with it, I throw a football jig. This happens to be a 3/8. I prefer a 3/8 because I don't have to fight the weeds quite as much. You can pop it off a little easier. Almost 100% of the time, I'm going to throw like a Yamamoto twin tail on it. And so that's kind of my go-to whenever I can. I like to fish that bait more than anything else. Second bait that I would throw, and a little bit different trailer, is going to be a poison head jig. This is a California Reservoir Lures bait with a rage craw on it. Okay. So it's got a lot of action. They're pretty busy. And it gives it a little bit bulkier profile in a short jig. Sometimes I'll pull a few strands out or something like that and thin it out to flare it, but normally that's not necessary.
So this jig is all about the action. The trailer's about the action, really?
Yes, yeah, the trailer's going to be a little bit of the key because it's got a lot of kick on the way down, so it's pushing and moving a lot of water. I don't fish rattles, hardly at all. So it's all about the thump of the rage craws, and I'll actually go up to a 1/2 ounce with a rage lobster on it, which is a wider bait yet that pushes more water, and it's even busier going down. When the fish get in certain moods, they like that bait a little bit better. So the poison head is kind of a crossbreed between a weed jig and a football jig. It stays on the bottom a little bit better, and it doesn't lay down on its side. Ultimately, you want the bait to sit like that so that when you get them in the roof of the mouth and not skin hook them.
I see.
A weed jig will tend to lay on its side a little bit more, and then you end up skin hooking and having fish break your heart. So that's number 2. And number 3 would be the straight up weed jig, or swim, some guys call it a swim head, which is a bullet style head. This happens to be a Rage Menace on the back. They're making a bigger one now. I'm kind of excited about that. And this is a little more subtle, not quite as much kick. And I was using this to fight the wind a little bit more. I went up to a 1/2 ounce instead of a 3/8. I try to throw as light a jig as I can personally. A lot of guys go the other way and pound it heavy. I tend to throw a little bit lighter jig as a whole if I can.
All right.
And then the last trailer I would say that you'd add into a jig in any situation would be something where you've got more of a, not a creature bait, but a beaver bait style. Whether it's this happens to be a rage version of it. Some of them could be just a straight up beaver, whatever it might be.
Just a super wide profile bait.
Super wide profile. You can adjust fall rate a little bit with the wider beaver bait and a lighter jig, so you get kind of the same performance out of a 3/8 as you would with a 1/2 with a different type trailer. So those are kind of my main go-to guys.